We begin today's NFL Daily with the latest on Matthew Stafford. Tom Pelissero and others afterwards reporting the Rams have allowed Stafford's agent to talk to other teams, in part to figure out what the general market looks like for Stafford, which could lead to an extension with the Rams or a trade. So will the Rams trade Matthew Stafford this offseason? Go vote for me in the comments section of today's show. It's Y for yes, N for no. Here's kind of the general breakdown of where things sit between Stafford and LA. Stafford wants a new deal. He wants more money, more guarantees. As we'll get into, that's perfectly reasonable with what Stafford is about to get paid by LA. The Rams, meanwhile, also understandably, are a bit hesitant to commit big long-term money to a 37-year-old who has battled injuries over the last several seasons. Now, the reporting is generally said the expectation is the Rams and Matthew Stafford figure out something that works for both sides, and he sticks around. Not that dissimilar to what happened in training camp when Stafford was also looking for a new contract and eventually kind of sort of got one. This is what Stafford has left. $27 million in cash this year. It's pretty low. $4 million of which is guaranteed. Again, that's well below market value, especially with $31 million, none guaranteed, upcoming in 2026. So it's 2025, 2026. The trade value there is pretty complicated. If the Rams never can agree to a contract, Stafford is still a really good QB. He's probably top 5 in the NFC, and it's probably not even that close to 5, probably closer to 1, frankly. But he's 37 years old. How many years does he have left of good play? How much of a contract does he want? Does he want a 4-year deal with big-time money and big guarantees? That's going to drive down the cost. I'm sure the Rams would love to get a first-round pick. I would be surprised if, even as quarterback desperate as there are teams out there right now, I would be surprised if he actually fetched a first-round pick in the trade market. I think a second or a third and other pieces to get close to a second value might be a bit more in line with the proper contract alignment. He's still good. He's had some good primetime games, but the consistencies have not, they've kind of, he hasn't been as good as he was in 2020. Let's put it that way. I mean, that year was incredible. He almost had the same amount of TDs combined this past year. That's kind of a red flag. So the pinned comment today is this: where will Matthew Stafford play in 2025? Let me know at the pinned comment, like I mentioned, of today's video. If the ad comes here on YouTube, it's fine. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. A couple of top Stafford destinations. We'll go briefly team by team. The Pittsburgh Steelers, if you want to go win right now with a defensive core that is really good, but also getting a little bit up there in age with Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, even Minka Fitzpatrick, a veteran like Stafford would really stabilize things and give the Steelers their best quarterback in a long time. The Giants, an obvious fit because that regime might get fired and maybe they cannot spend the number 3 overall pick on a QB that maybe isn't worth that selection. They can trade a day 2 pick for Stafford and try to win now and then draft somebody to develop behind him as well. The Raiders have been linked. A couple of different Raiders reporters saying that the Raiders are fit because of the presence of Tom Brady. I do wonder if in the end the Tom Brady presence is going to be enough to get interviews and get interest and not actually deliver results. We'll see. I also question if the Raiders should be at that level. Like the Giants, since just kind of got to win now, the Raiders can have a more patient approach. The Vikings stand out. They were linked kind of previously. There's a connection with Kevin O'Connell, obviously. I don't know if they're going to trade an asset to then just have him be there for a year because Stafford wants a long-term deal. McCarthy's the future. I don't buy that one as much. The wild card here is Tennessee. Can they figure out a way to attack an offseason where they don't have a lot of certain quarterback situations? They could trade down, get a bunch of picks, drop Stafford in. Maybe they could be a semi-contender. But also, are they ready enough to do that? Now, of note, as it relates specifically to the Rams, Aaron Rodgers has been mentioned as a top candidate in the event that this Rams move on from Matthew Stafford. In that case, I'm curious how that would work out. I wonder how McVay and Rodgers would vibe together, and I wonder if it's almost more of a Rodgers-led push. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. The quarterback carousel to get going here with the NFL Combine days away. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more, or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Whether it's basketball or baseball, Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. I always advise the flex play. Get one wrong, you can still come out on top. You can go 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, whatever. This is what our baseball guy, Jack Lauderay, cooked up on that front. It is a homer pick, pun intended, with Duran. He's a Boston guy, but the flex play is always a good idea. So go download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's Prize Picks. Run your game and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. Link and the code will be in the comments section and the description of today's video. Let's move to Sam Darnold and his potential future with the Minnesota Vikings. It seems that Minnesota is unlikely to use the tag on Darnold. They've got interested in returning, but they're also going to allow him to set himself up for free agency. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reporting the latest. I am told the Vikings are open to doing a deal with Sam Darnold, but they don't think the franchise tag is the likely path. That's a high number, around $40 million. So Minnesota's stance seems to be that they're not going to mortgage the future for Sam Darnold. If he's getting major bank with another team somewhere else, they probably won't mortgage their future in that regard, but they're open to having him back. They loved him. He's gone then. That's what that tells me. Like, if you're not going to franchise tag him at $40 million, but you want to bring him back, but at the right cost, he's gone. This is a chance for Darnold to get actually quarterback money for the first time ever. And again, we mentioned all those quarterback-needy teams. Some of them still fit with the with Darnold. The Rams stand out. The Steelers stand out. The Raiders are a fit. Again, maybe Tennessee could be an option. I did bring down New York a little bit because I don't know if that's what he wants to do, go back to New York after the Jets tenure, which I saw him high up on the Jets rankings. That just didn't make any sense to me at all. I was so confused by that. But Rams, Steelers, Raiders, even Tennessee, someone will pay him a decent amount of money. So where do you think Sam Darnold plays in 2025? Let me know in the comment section of today's show where you think Darnold ends up playing at. Now, I would not be surprised if Darnold gets more than the franchise tag figure of $40 million per year. Not all guaranteed, backloaded, so it's not going to be $40 million in year one. That is fairly similar to the Baker Mayfield contract, with a higher salary cap boost. And you're kind of in a similar spot now with Darnold, where former top pick or near top pick was in the running and kind of bounced around a little bit and wasn't great in Carolina, just like Baker. Everyone forgets about that tenure. Doesn't play for San Francisco, then has a career year by a massive margin with the Minnesota Vikings and Kevin O'Connell. And now he gets a chance to cash in. Teams are desperate. There are teams that think Darnold can be their franchise savior. And the job savior, even. So I would not be surprised if he gets big money. And if he doesn't, then I think going back to the Vikings, doing a potential one-year deal and trying to cash in again next offseason, that could be the path back to Minnesota. Now, we'll have more NFL free agency updates for you guys all offseason long, live coverage, signings, winners and losers, breakdowns, draft, of course, you name it. Hit that sub button for more free NFL YouTube videos, youtube.com/chatsportstv. And let's go to one of the more intriguing defensive players set to hit the open market, Jevon Holland. Dolphins are not going to tag Holland. That's already been reported. Not a surprise, frankly. And Holland thinks that the posting of Dolphins' social media accounts on Instagram and whatnot, in an indication they will not be bringing him back. Here's what Holland said on a podcast recently. Transparently, see the Dolphins post things like Valentine's Day stuff or any kind of edit. And I'm not in any of those. I'm like, okay, they've moved on. I get it. I understand to do that because I would do the same if I was in the same position. I think he's referring to like the social media people, by the way. But from my perspective, I'm just watching like, I get it, but okay, this is the effects of being a free agent. Your team, or what was your team, starts to phase you out in a way. Look, Holland regressed this past year. He was not as good as he was in previous seasons, which is not great coming off a contract season. But he has been very good in the past. Maybe it was a defensive issue. They changed defensive coordinators after all. I still like a lot of what Holland brings to an NFL team. I don't think he's going to get record-setting safety money, but but someone's going to pay him a good amount of money to come in, be a starter, and maybe, much like Darnold, he takes a shorter deal to cash in again in next offseason.